business time, and this very first episode is all about starting out, so starting up your new business venture. Now, this wasn't going to be part of this particular video or broadcast, but just a very good example about learning as you're running a business. This is in fact the second time I've done this live broadcast, and that was purely because I'd missed one of the settings on the previous broadcast. I had audio sync issues. Now, that wasn't a failure. That was in fact a part of learning about how to run a business, and I've learned from that mistake, and that's something I'll talk to you about a little bit later on in this very video. Now, for those of you who are new to the Geekanoids channel, just a bit of background about me. I've been running my own businesses for 25 plus years. I've been a YouTube content creator for almost 12 years now, and I also run multiple businesses at the same time, including a commercial video production company. Now, during this particular video series I'll be covering lots of topics, but today's video is all about starting out, and we're actually broadcasting this live, so if you are watching this whilst we're broadcasting live, you can in fact take part in the live chat. Leave me a comment or question. If you want your comment or question highlighted, you can use the super chat feature. And if you're watching this video after the event on the main Geekanoids channel, then please do leave me some comments or questions. I try and answer as many as I can. So the first topic for today's video is actually doing some research. If you're considering starting a new business, then take a look at what you are offering. So what service or product are you going to be actually offering? And I always find it really useful to make paper notes. Now, of course, we've got all of this technology around us nowadays, so we can use an electronic note application. I prefer something that's really nice and tactile. And also, when you're taking sort of notes on paper with a pencil or a pen, you can often sort of draw doodles very quickly, diagrams, really get your ideas down quickly in that physical form. And I think it really helps the whole sort of brainstorming thing when you're looking at what you're going to be offering to your clients or members of the public. Also, do some research on demand. Now, back in the good old days, you would actually go out and do market research on the street, and that's still a good idea today in certain scenarios, but you can do a lot of research about demand online. We've got the internet nowadays, which is a really useful tool, so please do your research and your due diligence to see what's out there, and if there is in fact a demand for what you're going to be offering. Also, research your competitors. This is very, very important. Now, when I was starting up my commercial video business, I actually spent probably about 2 weeks researching what my competitors were offering, what sort of turnaround, the time from a client actually contacting them to them delivering the video, how long would they take to deliver that whole service, what were they charging. And I did that both online on the internet and also on the telephone as well, and then I put all of the results down into a spreadsheet that I could then revise from time to time, because I do that research every sort of 6 to 12 months, and it also gave me a basis to know what I should be charging my clients and also how I could differentiate myself from the competition. And also get experience. Research what experience you need to offer that service or product. Now, you might be starting up a business based on your past experience, or maybe a passion or something that you're just very, very knowledgeable about. Or it might be that you've been an employee in that field for many, many years and you've decided to go it alone and add your own twist or your own sort of unique selling point on a service or product. So do that research, and it will stand you in good stead for the future. Now, before I move on to the next topic for starting out in your new business venture, this is a live broadcast, and as always, I take a look in the chat and I give a shout out to the first 4 people in the live chat, and they are Pro Copy Australia 1, Geek Shraven, Warwick Sylvester and WGH Fazzy. Thank you very much for tuning in live. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in live. In fact, as I mentioned at the beginning of this broadcast, this is the second attempt at this because of the bandwidth I was giving this particular video first time around. There were so many audio issues, I just was not happy with it, and because I run my own business, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, and we'll cover off about being a perfectionist maybe in another episode of Business Time. So next up, let's take a look at time commitment. another very important factor to consider if you're starting out your own business venture. Now, you've got to decide whether you're going to be running this part-time or full-time. That might sound strange, but a lot of people do in fact run their own business part-time to start off with, because you still need to make sure you've got an income. So if you're in employment and you're actually earning an income, then you may well need that to pay bills and food. We all need to do that. So if you're already earning a salary, you're in a salaried position, but you want to set up your own business, then obviously you're going to be starting up something part-time. That's going to mean really long hours. So check that you've got the gumption and the commitment to your business to put in that added time to get things up and running. And then more often than not, if you are running sort of part-time business alongside a part-time or full-time employment, you'll be sort of running it until it gets to a stage where you can actually say, right, I'm earning enough from my business to actually resign from my current position and then go all in on my business venture. The other option obviously is to actually put some money aside each month from employment until you've got enough sort of financial security there to maybe run your business and live off of what you put aside for a year. I would say a year, because it does take a good amount of time to actually get a business established. Or you could go the funding route, go to your bank and see if they can lend you the money or capital to actually start up your business. Or of course there are friends and family that you could ask for investment in your business as well. Now, asking friends and family is a little bit tricky. I'm sort of 50-50 about that, because I always value sort of my relationship with family and friends far greater than maybe a business investment, because if something goes wrong and businesses do fail, then it can be very, very tricky. So do take a look at your time commitment, how many hours per day you're going to be able to dedicate to your business. Now, before we move on, let's take a look inside the live chat and see if there's any questions or comments. Plenty of you saying hello, so a big hello to you all. Some of these questions are unrelated, so I'm going to save those for another broadcast. We've got here a question from, or a comment from Alfonso saying, "Hi Dave, I'm a Cuban business start in Ecuador." That's really interesting to hear. Please let us know in the chat what type of business you're running and also how long you've been running that business. And if you've got any advice to add, then please do put that in the chat. Now, with regards to questions and comments, I'm only going to be taking business related questions during this live broadcast, just to keep everything nice and relevant. So if you have got any questions at all, please do pop them in the live chat or in the comment section. So let's move on to another bit of advice for you, and that is family support, and more aptly friends and family support. This is a very tricky one, because when you start your own business, especially if you're working at home, not so much if you're maybe moving into an office, but if you are working from home, friends and family see you as more accessible, because you're not at work, you're not working in an office for an employer, you're working for yourself, but you're at home. So some people think it's okay to maybe call you at impromptu times on the telephone, or pop in for a cup of tea and a chat. And it's okay to do that if you can allow yourself those natural breaks through your day. Everyone has a tea break or a lunch break, so that's a really good time to catch up with friends and family. But you have to be quite strong and quite strict with them. So let them know what you're planning. Let them know you're starting a new business venture and it's going to take you a long time, and you're going to be working long hours as well, believe me. And say to them, if I sort of don't take your call, or I don't have that cup of tea, then it's not me being rude, it's me dedicating my focus onto my new business venture. And it's really important to set those ground rules just so that they don't get offended, and also so that you can remain focused throughout the working day. Now, using myself as an example, you do work long hours. 16, 18 hours days aren't something that is uncommon, put it that way. Now, I work from around about 6 AM through to around about 8 PM at night, sometimes a little bit later. Now, I'm flexible between 6 and 8 AM. If my family need my attention, my time, then that's fine. I'm very, very flexible, because normally I'm having breakfast, maybe catching up on emails, doing some of the very easy tasks related to business. So if I need to break off from that, then 6 to 8 p.m. is sort of business working time, but flexible time as well. And then from sort of 8 a.m. through to 6 p.m, that's when I'm focused, wholly focused on my business. And although I do allow interruptions occasionally, it's very, very rare. And then from 6 p.m. to 8 or 9 p.m, so those 3 hours in the evening where I may be doing social media work, then I can be interrupted again. And if I need to put everything down and miss an evening, that's absolutely fine. But Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m, that is, I'm at work. Even though I might be working at the office, I might occasionally be working at home, I might be working on location, I am at work. So they know that now, and I think it's very important if you're starting out your new business that you set those ground rules, and they'll appreciate it. Another area of family support, which is very, very important, is you're going to have new stresses and new things to handle. So it's nice if they're on board with your idea. They might not believe in it 100%, but if they're more or less behind you on it and do agree that you're sort of setting out on a really interesting and exciting business venture, having that positivity around you from friends and family can really help you in your success and in your frame of mind as well. It's a very healthy thing to do, to surround yourself by positive people, because it does have an effect on how you feel. So before I move on to the last two things I want to give you advice about, let's take a look back in the chat. Alfonso says that his business is actually selling technology via online platforms. That's a really interesting sector, something that interests me personally as well, and I wish you every success on that. Best Tech LJL, how would I start out a photography business? Well, the main thing with photography is obviously if it's your passion and you've got that skill behind the lens, and you're able to engage with your subject in front of the lens, then that will show through in the work that you do. And I think the main stepping stone with a photography business is to have some sort of online portfolio, a really professional looking website. I use Squarespace personally. This video is not sponsored, but I use Squarespace because it is nice and easy to set up. Really professional looking websites as well are possible using Squarespace. And select your best work. I see this with a lot of photographers actually, is they put every photo they take online. Keep it really slimmed down. Even a dozen of your best photos is better than having 36 or 100 photos and they're all like the same sort of subject matter. So select your best work, and also do some networking as well. Get out there and sort of network with the relevant groups of people that you might offer your services to. Contact the local Chamber of Commerce or your local business centre, see if they do any sort of networking events, and really put yourself out there, and then you'll start seeing clients come to you. So that's the first few things, but not everything that you would need to do for a photography business. So before I take any more questions, and I have seen a few more in the live chat there, let's move on to just another thing, and this is borrowing from a brand slogan or tagline, and that is just do it. Now we have seen this, it is a well-known sports brand, but it's very important because I get asked a lot online through the YouTube channel and through social media, various questions about setting up as a content creator on YouTube. What equipment will I need? Should I wait until I've got this camera or this lens? I've also been asked most recently by somebody who wants to set up their own craft type business, creating homemade crafts that they would then sell, whether they should do it now or wait until they've got more experience or more equipment or more products or more product lines that they can share and sell. And it's almost as though they're so nervous to start in case they get rejected. You know, will my videos be liked on YouTube? If you don't do it, you will never know. So of course, follow the advice I've given you in the earlier part of this video, which is to do your research and make sure there is a demand. But with some businesses, you just have to try it, because you will never ever know if it's going to work unless you try it. For example, live broadcasting on YouTube. I did it previously in dribs and drabs on rare occasions. And then at the latter end of 2017, I thought, no, I'm going to really try and engage with my audience, because I think it's great to get that instant feedback from people, instant questions, answers to your questions straight away. And I tried it, and I've made it a regular occurrence, and it's only by doing that that I've managed to gain that feedback from you that you really like this type of video. So if I'd never have tried it, then I would have never have known. And failure is indeed part of business. Trying something and it not working is not the business failing. It is something not working and then you learning from that mistake. And I've made many mistakes in my 25 years plus of being self-employed. Believe me, a lot of mistakes, including not charging enough for my services, not valuing my services enough, which we'll cover in another business time episode. Now, before I go on to the last little bit of advice, let's take a look back in the comments. We've got Raymond Moore. Dave, how do I know whether I need to register my business to the government to keep it legal? Do all self-managed businesses need to be registered? In some form or another, you need to be registered. If you're working in the UK, for example, as a sole trader, you need to let the taxman know that you are in fact running a business, so that you can do your self-assessment taxes at the appropriate time each year. Now, that will differ from country to country, but everyone, if you are earning money, you need to pay your due taxes. So you need to register somewhere. If you're setting up as a limited company, then of course in the UK you have to register that with Companies House. So there are various rules and they are country dependent. So please do check out the sort of rules and laws in your country. Also, we have got Raymond Moore saying, Dave, how to manage invoices and tax for a self-employed person. Again, I will be covering this in a separate video, but just to touch on that, I use an online service for my accounting from Intuit called Self-Employed, or it might be called QuickBooks Self-Employed, and I use that to synchronize with my bank account, and it also has an invoicing feature built into the software as well. This isn't software you install on your computer, it's all accessed via your web browser, and there are various other applications or options that you can use to manage your accounts. And that comes nicely onto my last piece of advice really, which is if you are going to be starting a new business venture, I'm no expert when it comes to legal advice or tax advice, other than knowing that you should take legal advice if you're setting up certain types of business, and you should also take tax advice from an accountant. Having an hour-long appointment with an accountant and getting the relevant advice you need might cost you money, but it will save you money in the long term, believe me. So if you are starting out a new business venture, do take the relevant legal advice and also the relevant tax advice as well. With regard to legal advice, some accountants might offer that service as well, or you can just go to a lawyer or solicitor in the UK and take the relevant advice from them. Again, an hour-long appointment is a very, very good investment in your new business venture. Have we got any more questions? I think that's pretty much it. So I'm going to wrap this first business time up. I have got plenty of other episodes of business time actually planned for future episodes, so please do make sure you're subscribed to the Geekanoids channel. And again, if you have got any questions or comments, please do leave them in the comment section down below. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed the video, please do hit that like button. If you are starting up a new business venture this year, I wish you the very best of luck and the very best success with it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.